Welcome to our channel, where we bring you bone-chilling true stories from around the world. From haunted houses to unexplained disappearances, we have it all. So turn off the lights, grab a blanket, and get ready for a scare.
It was 2017, and I was just a typical teenager, going through high school and enjoying life. One weekend, my parents decided to go on a short trip, leaving me home alone for the first time. I was excited to have the house to myself, but my parents made sure to give me a list of safety guidelines to follow. They told me to keep the doors and windows locked, not to let strangers inside, and to call them if I needed anything. I assured them I would be fine and could handle being alone for a couple of days. They kissed me goodbye, and off they went. As I waved them goodbye, I felt a mixture of excitement and a bit of nervousness. I mean, who wouldn't feel that way when you're home alone for the first time? I knew I had to be responsible, but I was also looking forward to having the freedom to do whatever I wanted without anyone looking over my shoulder. I spent the first few hours just enjoying the quiet, empty house. Everything was going smoothly, and I felt confident that I could handle being home alone. Little did I know this weekend would turn out to be more than I bargained for. As the night rolled in, I continued to revel in my newfound freedom. I binge-watched my favorite shows, munching on popcorn and occasionally glancing out the window to see the peaceful darkness of the night. It was just the kind of evening I had been looking forward to. However, as the night grew darker, I began to hear strange noises outside. At first, I dismissed them as my overactive imagination. It's just the wind, I told myself, trying to stay calm. But the noises persisted, growing louder and more frequent. They sounded like footsteps crunching through the leaves, followed by faint whispers that sent shivers down my spine. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I should call my parents or even the police, but then I scolded myself for being so paranoid. You're just freaking yourself out, I thought. There's nothing to be afraid of. I turned up the volume on the TV, drowning out the unsettling sounds from outside, and tried to focus on my shows. As the hours passed, the noises outside seemed to fade away, and I eventually convinced myself that I had just been letting my imagination run wild. I couldn't help but laugh at how easily I had scared myself. You're such a baby, I muttered, shaking my head. Despite my efforts to put the strange noises out of my mind, I couldn't help but feel a lingering sense of unease as I prepared for bed. I double-checked that all the doors and windows were locked, and then I curled up under the covers, hoping for a peaceful night's sleep. The next day, I woke up feeling groggy and disoriented. My sleep had been filled with nightmares, and the feeling of unease from the previous night still lingered. Trying to shake it off, I got up and went about my day. As I walked through the living room, I glanced out the window and noticed a strange man standing on the porch of the house across the street. He seemed to be watching my house intently, his gaze never wavering. I couldn't make out his features, but there was something about him that sent a chill down my spine. I tried to ignore him, going about my chores and attempting to distract myself with music and movies, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. As the day went on, I noticed that the man would disappear whenever I tried to approach or talk to him. It was as if he knew I was coming and didn't want to be seen. This only fueled my paranoia, and I began to question my safety. Was this man dangerous? Did he have something to do with the strange noises I had heard the night before? As night fell again, my fear continued to grow. Every creak, every shadow seemed to taunt me, reminding me that I was alone and vulnerable. I couldn't stop thinking about the mysterious man and the sinister feeling that seemed to surround him. I decided I needed to do something, take action and protect myself. I locked all the doors and windows, double-checking each one to ensure my safety. My heart raced as I heard a bang on the door. I peeked out from the window, but no one was there. My heart raced as I opened the front door the next morning, only to find a piece of paper on the doorstep. Picking it up, I read the disturbing message scrawled in jagged handwriting. I'm always watching you. The color drained from my face, and I knew that the mysterious man must be responsible. As the day turned to evening, I noticed that the man often lurked around my house, even at odd night hours. It felt like he was always there, watching my every move, waiting for the right moment to strike. I tried to convince myself that it was all in my head, but the evidence was mounting and becoming impossible to ignore. With each passing moment, my anxiety and fear grew. I felt trapped, suffocated by the unseen presence that seemed to be closing in on me. I knew I needed help, but who could I turn to? My parents were still out of town. In order to ignore creepy incidents, I decided to watch some TV. I turned on the local news channel and was shocked to see a breaking news report. Displayed on the screen was the mugshot of a notorious criminal who had recently escaped from prison, and he bore a striking resemblance to the man who had been watching my house. I felt my stomach drop as the reporter explained that the escapee was considered extremely dangerous and was known for a series of violent home invasions. Suddenly, it all made sense. The man had been observing my house and waiting for the perfect opportunity to break in, but I was not sure. That night, as the darkness crept in, my senses were on high alert when I heard the sound of glass shattering downstairs. The man had finally decided to break into my house. I knew I couldn't just sit and wait for him to make his move. I needed to act. My heart raced, and I quickly hid in my bedroom closet. As I huddled there in the darkness, I managed to pull out my phone and dial 911. I whispered my address and the situation to the operator, who assured me that the police were on their way. All I could do now was wait and hope that they would arrive in time. I could hear the criminal searching through the house, his footsteps getting closer and closer to my hiding spot. I held my breath, praying that he wouldn't find me before the police arrived. Finally, I heard the sounds of sirens approaching, and the man's footsteps suddenly grew more frantic. The police burst through the front door, shouting orders for the criminal to surrender. I could hear a struggle and then the sounds of handcuffs clicking into place. Relief washed over me as I realized that they had apprehended the man before he could find me. As I emerged from my hiding spot, my legs trembled and tears streamed down my face. I knew that I had narrowly escaped a terrible fate, and I was incredibly grateful for the timely intervention of the police. When my parents finally returned home, they were visibly relieved to find me safe and sound. They had heard about the escaped criminal on the news and were horrified to learn that he had been stalking our home. We hugged each other tightly, thankful that the terrifying ordeal was finally over. The experience taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of being cautious and vigilant when home alone. I had always thought my neighborhood was safe, but this chilling encounter showed me that danger could lurk just around the corner. From that point on, I kept my doors locked and always made sure I was aware of my surroundings, no matter how safe I thought I was.
We hope you enjoyed our spine-tingling stories. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on our latest uploads. Until next time, sweet dreams, if you can sleep at all.